Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we have Amit with us. Amit has been working
Okay.
in the FP&A department since 3 years now. Let's hear more about Amit from him. Amit, over to you.
So, hi guys. Hi Sudhanshu. So, to start with my introduction, uh, I have around like 8.5 years of experience, and I've been working in FP&A, as Sudhanshu said, from last 3 years, and all of my experience has been within G Healthcare. So, before FP&A, I was working in auditing with Deloitte, and Deloitte, I spent around 1.5 years. That was mostly in stat audit, and I'm a CA dropout, and I've completed my CMA, and currently I'm pursuing CPA. So this is about my background, and I hail from Kolkata. Currently, I'm based out of Bangalore.
Okay. So, Amit, when we say FP&A, so what
Mhm.
exactly does FP&A mean? And if someone is working in FP&A profile, then what sort of things that we should do in FP&A? Can you please explain?
Sure, sure. So when we talk about FP&A, I'll start from the perspective of a fresher here. So as a CA fresher, we have different domains within finance also. So like one is when we talk about outside consulting, when someone is working outside in the outside consulting, which is basically start audit, and then your investment bankers, your consultants. So those are like outside reporting. And then we have internal reporting as well. So that's where FP&A comes in. In terms of internal reporting, uh, FP&A people are the people who work to deliver insights to the senior management. So basically, uh, when you run a company, you need some insights about how your company is performing, what your future outlook is. Basically, the senior management would like to know, right? How the company is performing, what is the outlook for the future, and what strategy they can build to have a better performance in the future. That's where FP&A personnel kick in and they start working on the financial planning of the company. So it is all taken care by FP&A personnel, and we do budgets for the company, we do financial forecasts for the company, and then FP&A is a link between the CFO, the business, the sales, and the accounting. So basically, FP&A acts as a link between all these departments. So that's what like FP&A is basically. And talk about what FP&A professional does. So our role majorly involves in budgeting and forecasting for the company. As I said, like it's more on the strategy side. So you'll be working on the planning. So you'll have your financial plans for the year, for the quarter, and even you have long range plans. So you would end up planning for like next 3 years or 5 years, what your company's planning to achieve, what are your goals for the company. So what kind of sales and what kind of profit you're looking towards. So that's where, yeah, like FP&A people give structure to that.
Okay. So got it. So basically, you are involved in all the data that stakeholders need to have to make the decisions for it, right?
Yeah, so it's related to decision making, and then in some cases, like specifically for my company, like we are also
Hmm.
involved in some part of operations. So we end up managing our actuals also. So when you look, I mean, like for my role is specific to profit and loss statement. So I look after the profit and loss statements, and then I make sure that whatever I'm forecasting is also reflecting in actuals. And when there is some deviation, we try to figure out what is the cause of deviation and what is the root behind deviation, and like if it is driven by operations or if it isn't driven by something else, or is it like something it's driven by a mistake, so we need to get it corrected. So we are involved both in planning process for decision making as well as looking after the actuals for the like what your sales is coming in, what your cost is coming in. So cost control also is part
Hmm.
of it.
Hmm. Okay. So when someone wants to go into FP&A, what sort of incentives that it should get? By incentive, I mean what excites them to be a part of FP&A? Why should someone go into FP&A?
So, see, I would say here, when you're doing external reporting, you never get to understand how the company is working basically, because you're just looking at the data for accounting, and like if you're in stat audit, you'll be able to have brief view on like the financials of the company. Again, you're in accounting, you will get a view on the financials of the company. But when we talk about FP&A, so in FP&A, you're not just looking at the financials, you're actually planning the financials, and you're part of decision making. So, like uh, uh, when we talk about operations, so whatever operations the company is planning, so you'll be part of those meetings and those calls where you'll get to know how my company is operating. So you get to know how a company works. So like right now, I've been in G Healthcare, so I understand how my segment is working, how my supply chain is working, what my company is doing, what are my manufacturing sites. So all the operations, I know about that. So that is some insight which FP&A people get, and that you will not find in external reporting. So that is what like should excite you, that you get to see what the CFO of the company is looking at, and you get to understand what like their viewpoint as well, because you'll have a lot of interaction with the senior management and the CFO. So you'll get to know what is their understanding of the companies and the market outlook and operations. So you get an opportunity to interact with those people a lot, which is like kind of missing in external reporting, I would say. So that really excites like a lot of people.
Okay. Okay. And once someone get into this FP&A field, what all the future career aspect that they may get or they may look into?
So see, future aspect, I would say there are two types of aspect you can like think of. One is like within FP&A, you can think about long term. So once you join as an FP&A analyst, with time you can move to become lead FP&A, and then manager, then senior manager, and then you can also go for the CFO position. I mean, that's where it leads to, right? Because you are constantly learning from the CFO, you're talking with the senior management. So eventually you can plan to land in that role itself, where you become the CFO or the part of senior management of the company. But other than that, if you want to change your domain, then the choices are quite limited, I would say. But still, you can go to business finance, you can go to operations, or you can become a controller. So controller role is again like very close to FP&A, where instead of like decision making, they are more focused on the accounting compliance, right? So they look after and to make sure that everything is within compliance, and they again get to talk with the senior management in regards to those things. So you can go to controllership role, like vice versa, you can move from controllership to FP&A. And then business finance, I think most FP&A people like at some point do think that they want to move to business finance, because at the end FP&A people are supporting business finance. So eventually they want to move to business finance. So that is one thing. And other than that, if you really want to go out of like this whole domain and something new, then you can do that, but then your experience will not be considered as much, like if you go to a
Yeah.
different domain. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that means that you can switch to more in business finance and controllership as compared to other domains, right? So while you are analyzing various reports or data for the budgeting and forecasting, I'm pretty much sure that you will be using some kind of tools or specific skills to analyze those data. Can you please brief us about those skills or the tools that we generally use in FP&A team?
Sure. So like it depends on company to company, but I think Excel is the just like our education or like mathematics is based to everything. Excel is based to all the work. So Excel is must for every company. and you'll notice that lot of data analysis is being done in Excel. Even for my company, we do a lot of analysis in Excel, but then apart from Excel, we focus on business intelligence tools. So when I say business intelligence tools, first of all, if you are part of a big organization, you will be, like the organization will have Oracle SAP to manage their data. And then on top of that, most of the company will use a planning tool. So that's where you will have S-base, which is again Excel-based planning tool, where you can pull the summary of all the data in a very, small file. So it really helps to summarize the data and pull the data by just refreshing the tables. So that is one thing. And then on top of that, another tool is like many people have heard of this. So you have Tableau, you have Power BI, and you have ClickSense. So in my company, we are using ClickSense right now, which has both data storage capabilities and data analytics capabilities. And Tableau and Power BI also, like, they do similar kind of things. So I think as an FP&A professional, it's very important that you understand how business intelligence tools work. So you should be able to manipulate data. You should be able to design dashboards in those tools and as well as in Excel. So basically, initially, like, we start with designing dashboards in Excel, and then we try to automate those in the BI tools basically. So once you automate those in the BI tools, it removes the manual effort of refreshing like the data every time in Excel. So that's how, like, the progression is. First, you should be very strong with Excel. You should be knowing all the advanced functions like SUMIF, data validation, index match, XLOOKUP, and you can even go with Lambda. So, and then once you master these things, VBA macro also. Like VBA macro, I mean, we don't use much, but if you know it, it's good. You can use it, and then you can focus on business intelligence tools. Like that is like a major focus. If you look at any job openings, they'll mention some kind of BI tool. Like in case of Amazon, you'll see they mention Red Cognos, they mention Power BI Tableau. So in case of Goldman Sachs, you'll see they mention Anaplan. So that's another business intelligence tool. So everyone uses something different, but like the concept is same. So if you know any one of them, even Alteryx, so if you know any one of them and you've worked on them, then you will be able to take over the other. Like you can work on other as well very quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. So, Amit, there could be something more specific to a manufacturing company in FP&A, and there could be more specific in the service industry. So if someone starts their career in the FP&A manufacturing and then wants to switch to FP&A service, or vice versa as well, how smooth this process is or how difficult it is?
Okay. So here I would say, like FP&A manufacturing is much more difficult. Where like when we talk about manufacturing, we talk about procurement, we talk about supply chain, we talk about delivery, we talk about logistics, basically logistics delivery, and we talk about a lot of other things which are not part of service industry. So FP&A for manufacturing industries are, very difficult, and a lot of analysis goes behind it. So if you're working in a manufacturing concern, then the level of analytics you're doing will be much higher in terms of quality and as well as quantity and quality both. But when we talk about service organization, there, people would be more focused on the number of hours employees have worked. So because in service organization, employees are profit center, and number of hours they work gets converted into the profit of the company or the revenue of the company. So that's where the analytics is little bit lower than what we have in manufacturing concern. So if someone is part of manufacturing concern in FP&A and they want to move to service industry, the transition is very smooth. Because even the other company or the person would know that this person has manufacturing experience, so they would be easily able to understand the service industry and cope up with it. But if you talk about the other way around, moving from service industry to manufacturing becomes a little bit difficult because like since manufacturing has a lot more complexity involved, so people
Mm-hmm.
generally, like the senior managers, do not prefer people from service industry. They would prefer people coming from manufacturing industry itself. So I would say if someone is planning to go to FP&A, they should try to go to manufacturing concern. That way they'll have, more chance of moving to different places rather than going to a service industry. But then, hey, I mean, like, you can go to service industry and it will be a little bit difficult, but then if you if you're determined and if you prepare hard, you can still
Mm-hmm.
move back to manufacturing and move to other places also, but
Okay.
the
Mm-hmm.
transition other way is smoother.
And if I replace this transfer of service to manufacturing like this to Big Four to service, Big Four to FP&A and FP&A to Big Four, how the things goes?
So when you say big four, do you mean stat audit or do you mean FP&A of big four?
No, stat audit only. Stat audit of
Okay,
Big Four.
so if you are moving from stat audit to FP&A, I mean, like, you can do that because I've also done that. My experience was more or less in start audit only, and then when I started applying for other jobs, I was able to get jobs in controllership. I was able to get, like, in different, like, parts. I was able to get all kinds of jobs, and FP&A was one of them. So I mean, you would not get a senior role, obviously, for because what happens in FP&A, you mostly work with senior management, and senior management do not like freshers a lot because they would want everything coming from an experienced person, right? So if you're a
Mm-hmm.
fresher, if you're an experienced personnel and you don't have FP&A experience, you wouldn't want to join at a junior level in FP&A, right? So that's where
Yeah.
the thing would not work out for you as well. So in the initial stages of your career, if you're in audit or any domain, tax, audit, you can move to FP&A. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to move from FP&A to audit, I don't think that's going to happen because uh, I know a lot of people working in Big Four, and I've been in Big Four. So Big Four, they do not prefer experience which is not audit. If you are going to audit, they would prefer that you have an audit background, and if you have some other background, they would discount that basically. So they would, in my case, they would just remove my 3 years of experience, and they'll say that okay, we'll only consider 5 years, or like if you remove articleship also, we'll only consider 2.5 years, and it would
Mm-hmm.
not be feasible for me to join Big Four now. So
Yeah.
that's how it is for audit, I would say.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
It's a one-way
Okay.
ticket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Amit, when someone goes into this FP&A profile, how is the work culture in this domain? That is the work pressure that someone will have to feel. How is it in the business finance? Sorry, in FP&A.
Mhm. Okay. So, here I'll first start with audit actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, everybody here would understand that in audit, the work pressure is usually crazy. People end
Mm-hmm.
up working countless hours, day and night. And I also faced that pressure. When I transitioned from Deloitte to GE in FP&A, I was
Mm-hmm.
taken aback a little bit because of the difference in the work pressure. So FP&A was very chill initially, at least for me, initially it was very chill. And still, I mean, like, you can never compare audit workload with FP&A. So usually because you do not have a requirement, like, of generating number of hours, because when
Mm-hmm.
you're working in a manufacturing concern or you're working in a service industry, you're part of cost center here, so you're a cost for the company, and your number of hours don't really matter to them. So what
Yeah.
matters is the work they want. So if you're able to deliver that analysis in, let's say, 5 hours, and that is all
Mm-hmm.
what they want, so they don't care if you're not, like, if you don't have that much workload. So they will not put additional workload on you unless there's a lack of team member, or there are, like, more work. So
Mm-hmm.
usually the work is chill, but again, like, it also depends on companies. Like, if they don't have good planning, if there's a poor planning in the company and they have less resources, then you might end up getting more workload. Or maybe you want to succeed in your career, like, there are some people who goes the extra mile to succeed in their career. So they end up taking
Mhm.
more workload. So for them,
Oh,
it could be more, but then still lower than audit. It can never
oh.
be as much as audit.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
usually month end, quarter close, or like whatever the forecast cycle is. So during
Mhm.
the forecast cycle and close, you'll have some more work pressure, and usually it will be not as much.
Okay. So apart from those specific cases, you don't feel that kind of pressures that we usually get in audit, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
and we
Yeah.
don't have a busy season as such. So no busy
Mm.
season, uh, and no, like submissions of like uh, that we have a financial reporting submission, nothing like that for us, because
Mm.
we are not part of reporting, we are part of planning. I mean,
Mm.
we do help out in reporting, and we prepare reports for management, but like that's part of our daily task. It's not like the PL is finalizing, so I need to report out to external, because when we talk
Mm.
about external reporting, there's a lot of diligence, due diligence and compliance on it. But in our case, it's more about analytics and less about compliance. So that's where the work pressure, I mean, like is divided into forecast cycles and close like that.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. So, Amit, when someone is going to sit for these FP&A interviews, what sort of things that you should think one should prepare before sitting into that interview?
So I would give like two different advices. Like one person would be like, if we are talking about CA, CMA, or CPA, ACCA freshers, I would give them this advice that they should, first of all, be well prepared for the interview. They should not go blank in the interview. So like recently we had three positions open in my company, and one of the position was for a junior role, and one was for a mid-level role, which I'm in. So we took interview for both the roles, and I saw a very big difference. So when I took the interview for mid-level roles, I saw that people were quite prepared. Even if they were not from FP&A background, they were prepared with the
Mm-hmm.
answers. Like they knew what FP&A is, they knew what forecasting, budgeting, and they knew about FP&A. But when I took for junior role, like
Mm-hmm.
we had CAs with around 2 to 3 years of experience, and
Mm-hmm.
they just did not know what FP&A is. I mean, like they were not able to answer basic questions. So
Okay.
even if the person is a fresher, I would expect them to know what FP&A is. So they should
Mm-hmm.
at least, if they are applying for a FP&A job, even if they are sitting in campus and they get the job description from the employer, they should
Mm-hmm.
go through, and if, or maybe like the person wants to go to FP&A, they should read about FP&A. And there's a lot of content available to read about FP&A, what FP&A professional does, what FP&A is, what are the, like what is forecasting, how is analysis being done. They should know about the tools. I mean, like if they are well versed with the tools, it's great. If they're not,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. I mean, like I would prefer a person who is already well versed. But if like all the freshers are not acquainted with the tool, then I will choose whoever is the best. And if someone knows it, that person would be my first choice. So that how
Okay.
it is for the freshers. They should
Mm-hmm.
prepare really, really, really well, and that
Mm-hmm.
way they'll have a higher chance of getting into FP&A. It doesn't matter whatever, like if they did their articleship, if their articleship was focused on tax, if their articleship was focused on audit, it doesn't matter at all. Preparation for
Mm-hmm.
the interview matters. That's what I would say. And
Okay.
yeah. And then when we talk about experienced professionals, so if you're an experienced CA, even if you're coming from a different background than FP&A, then also I would expect that at least you should be able to answer me the basic questions, and you should be able to explain basic analytics. You should
Mm-hmm.
at least know how a manufacturing concern or how a service industry is working. I would basically try to test your logic here. So
Mm-hmm.
fresher, experienced personnel, I would try to test their logic. I would throw in some trick questions. I would ask them, like logical based questions. And if they're able to answer those questions, like it increases their chances of going into FP&A,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end, it's all based on logic and your understanding and little bit statistics, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. So, Amit, Any Excel tip that you want to give to the freshers or experienced person who will be sitting for their interviews?
Excel tips, you're saying, right?
By Excel tip, I meant that anything that would help them to have an upper hand over the other candidates.
Okay. So I would say learn it, like it doesn't take too much time. If you spend like 15 days or 1 month, you'll be able to learn a BI tool. Like you can go for Power BI, you can go for Tableau, you can go for ClickSense. I mean, these are three tools like which like Power BI and Tableau are most recognized, and there's ClickSense also. So
Mm-hmm.
if you spend some time like 15 days or one month learning these tools, it is definitely going to give edge. And then again, advanced Excel is a must. So you should know some, if you should know how to make a dashboard. I mean, like, there are a lot of videos, and there are a lot of courses available. And it could
Mm-hmm.
be a like 1 week course, 1 day or 3 day course where you can learn how to make financial models. So
Yeah.
that is like really going to increase your chances by 30 to 40% to get hired, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Amit, you have briefly discussed everything about the FP&A team, and this will definitely help someone who wants to go to FP&A team as CA fresher or as a CA experienced. So it was great having you, Amit. It was nice
Thank
talking to
you.
you. We discovered many things while talking to you. So
Yeah,
thanks,
same
thanks
here.
for
It
coming.
was it was nice talking to you. So I wish everyone all the best. And even if you're not a qualified person, it doesn't matter. You can still, like prepare very well and go for the interview. You'll surely get a chance to get selected. So best of luck.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you,
Thank,
Sudhanshu. Bye.
thank
Have a
you.
nice
Yeah,
day.
bye.